treat myself and buy a sheet mask, and it exploded in my grocery bag, so that was nice. Also, I feel like I use this I'm okay, I guess, sticker a lot. I feel like at the end of the year, yes, that is what I'm gonna do. At the end of the year, I'm gonna go through every page and I'm gonna make a tally of how many times I have used this sticker, because I feel like it would be at least a few dozen. You guys need to remind me to do that at the end of the year. This is the Potato Party washi tape. This washi makes me smile. Okay, this was another hectic design day. I don't even know why I bother writing this, because all of this were very hectic design days, but you know, make it fun. I do love this bright pop of blue though. And on this day, I made some date Snickers. Basically just take some dates, split them in half, take out the pit, fill it with peanut butter, and coat it with chocolate. Pop it in the freezer, and it is just the most delicious treat. Another very busy day. So busy, in fact, that I didn't have time to check anything off. I can assure you, I actually did stuff on this day. Also got an iced matcha latte. I am stressed. I am still stressed. Even more stressed. Cool. This was my very poor attempt at drawing a skunk. When I posted this on Instagram, somebody commented, "That's a really cute squirrel." And now I cannot unsee it. That definitely looks more like a squirrel than a skunk. Reading is my inhale, writing is my exhale. Really like that. I am a clown. Yes. I took a shower at like 1 a.m. Again, it was a very late night, and I was so distracted thinking about the monthly kits that I put sunscreen instead of lotion on my face. So that was nice. Pasted in this little stamp, some tulip doodles. I really like this shade of green. I wrote down this passage from the ingredient, and this is when I revealed the new washi tapes. I was so tired on this day, I was too lazy to go grab my black pen, so I just wrote it in blue. So yeah, with the blue and green, black and blue, purple, orange, it looks very messy. The next day, messy, anxious mind. Oh, here I was doing some brainstorming for the color suggestions graphic, which is something new that I'm doing. Basically, with all of my kits, I want to start providing like Tombow dual brush pen marker suggestions. I will put a photo of the graphic on the screen, but yeah, I was just brainstorming there. This is when I revealed the Robert Oster collaboration. Look, another one. I told you, I use this one way too much. On this day, I really had to lock in and get some work done. My jet pens order came, so I did some swatches. This haul video is gonna go up next week, so I guess you got a little preview. I was very proud because I got a lot of my to-do list items done. Good job. These large floral stickers are from According to Ali, and they are so pretty. Made another grocery list, and Lauren, who I swear we are like the same person, she just gets me. But anyways, she sent me a very lovely care package because I think she just knew how stressed I have been, so that was very, very kind of her. And I also tried a new tea on this day. I am very tired. Still very tired. I don't know if I need to say anything more. This was an everything shower emoji, which I eventually turned it into a sticker for the August freebie. Where is it? There it is. So yeah, a lot of my stickers are inspired by like true things from my life, I guess, and just like random doodles. And then this was yesterday, and this is today. Words can only hurt you to the degree you believe it to be true, but of course I made a mistake. So that is basically it for all of my July spreads. Even though it was a very hectic month, I'm very happy that I was able to find some time every day to at least write and doodle a little bit, even if it's like not the most extravagant thing. I think that is all I have for now. So thank you so much for watching. I will see you, actually the next time I talk to you in real time is going to be when I'm back from New York, and I will be sure to share what happens. Please do wish me luck because I'm very nervous, more so I think the social aspect, but also just all of the logistics. Okay, anyways, thank you for watching. Please take care. Bye. Hello, welcome back to the 11th planner update of 2023. We have just December left to go. Kind of in denial, but we just have December left to go before jumping into all of the 2024 stuff, and I am so excited. I actually need your opinion. Would you like to see a 2024 planner lineup video before I dive into any of them, or do you feel like that's kind of useless and I should probably wait until like I actually start using them to make a systems video? So do let me know what you think about that. I can do either way. But anyways, the agenda for today is I'm first going to show you my pocket bullet journal. I'm going to introduce this new guy. I will then show you all of my Hobonichi cousin spreads, and then I will show you one thing that I have done for my 2024 cousin. So 4 things to go over today. Starting with the pocket bullet journal. Let's see. My pocket bullet journal in November is a little bit weird. This is the finished monthly spread, and I made it a travel theme with the travel time emojis washi and the around the world washi. And I really like this kind of beige and periwinkle combo. I think it looks really peaceful and nice. Then we have the November in review. This is basically where I just make a doodle of any highlights throughout the month, not necessarily every single day. So I had a nail appointment, I made some apple hand pies, went to Chicago, met up with friends, more Chicago stuff, went to Orlando, had brunch, then the planner conference, went back home, visited my nephew. I will talk about this a little bit later. I got some new meds, watched the Taylor Swift Eras Tour movie, had a week of sickness, and then we had the Black Friday sale as well as my mom's birthday, and then I had my first painting session. And then here I was just making some book notes. I was traveling and I didn't bring my book journal, so I was just making notes on this page. Very random. And then this is the Ode to Da Vinci washi tape. As you guys probably know by now, I change my bullet journal layouts based on whatever I need for that particular day or week. So this was more of like a split sort of day. I have my to-do list here, some notes here, and then just like a random section of my grocery list, which I actually remember why I doodled this. So during the planner conference, I think it was the hand lettering workshop, we were given this Tombow mono drawing pen, and I really wanted to make some doodles with it, and I actually really like this fine liner, so that is why I made a bunch of doodles here. And then this is a random horizontal spread. I made a to-do list, and then I went to watch the Eras Tour movie. And my favorite song is Enchanted, so I just wrote down some lyrics from there. This was the beginning of my 2024 holidays project. So every year I make a sticker sheet of all of like the general holidays, and then I also make a bunch of like country and religion specific holidays. And the key to staying on track is making a list of all of the holidays that I want to do, divided by how many days I have until the deadline, and then just section it off that way. So here I have my list of general sheets, Canadian holidays. Initially I thought I needed to do like 10 to 12 per sheet, but then it ended up being 14. So I eventually had to add a bunch of extra ones as well. And actually for most countries, there aren't 14 public holidays throughout the year. So I had to do some fun ones. Like for example, the Canadian holidays, I did Beaver Day, Maple Syrup Day, maybe something else as well. So yeah, we also have United States. And then this was my favorite new addition, stationery holidays. So things like Sticker Day, Handwriting Day, Fountain Pen Day, stuff like that. And yeah, this was actually, I think, the best seller in terms of the add-on sheets. And then I guess I took a little break here and I did a full page dedicated to Saturday. Sometimes if it's a really busy day, I like to color block my day. So here, pink is personal stuff, purple is work stuff. You might be wondering why some of it is shaded in and some of it is just boxed off. It is just because, like for example, from 6 in the morning to 8, it was all personal stuff, so pink, but then one part of it is working out and then the other part of it was reading, so I kind of wanted to differentiate that. Then it looks like I cut out a page, but I like genuinely cannot remember what I cut out. It might have been notes for the 2024 holidays that was inaccurate, maybe, I don't know. But anyways, this is continuing on with the holidays list. So I have some UK holidays, Australia, Islamic. Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm gonna come back to this. This was really funny. But anyways, we have Islamic holidays. Oh my gosh, Pride, Japan, Christian, Jewish, China, Wheel of the Year, which is like pagan holidays, Asian holiday sampler, Mexico, and then Hindu, which I don't know why I didn't make a list for that. But yeah, just a whole bunch of stuff. And as you can see, my handwriting was getting messier and messier because I was getting more and more desperate. Here I wrote January 6th is Epiphany, but then I rewrote it. I don't know, things were weird in my brain these 3 days. Oh, also, this was when I had my cold and a fever, so that's also kind of in my defense. But anyways, I want to go back to this spread, which I find very hilarious. So if you don't know what 75 hard is, it's kind of like a mental discipline challenge where for 75 days there are a list of rules that you have to follow. So the rules are, you pick a diet to follow. It can be anything, and I chose no added sugar. You have to work out twice a day, 45 minutes each, once outside. This one was okay because I work out every day for about an hour anyways, and then I like basically speed walk everywhere. So this one was fine. Drink a gallon of water every day, which I had zero concept of what a gallon looked like, so I had to convert it to liters. This one was quite difficult because I struggle with drinking enough water. You're supposed to read 10 pages of a nonfiction book. This one was okay. And just take a progress photo. So honestly, like everything except for the no added sugar and the water, I thought it was quite manageable, and I thought it was a fun challenge to do. So I created this spread, and then as you can see, day 1, day 2, day 3, I was doing fine. And then by day 4, I couldn't because I had a fever, and I was like, okay, maybe I'll just stop this because I am clearly not okay. So yeah, this challenge didn't really pan out how I wanted to, but I think I would like to try this again because I think I can do it. So we will revisit this at a later date. I just thought it was kind of funny that I lasted basically 3.5 days. Anyways, I doodled this like emoji that says I'm done, because this like holidays project took a little bit of my soul away. And then here I had a bunch of empty space, so I went through my camera roll and I doodled every croissant that I have ever taken a photo of. So yeah, why did I do that? I don't know. I just felt like doodling croissants. I quite like this page. Just a little bit of my weekend as well as Monday. I basically split the day in half, so to-do list and some doodles, and then I alternated. So this is the doodles and then my to-do list. This was at the end of Black Friday, Cyber Monday. A little funny story. So my mom, my dad and I, we were discussing the subscription, and then I think we were just all so sleep deprived that when my mom went to say subscription, she accidentally said Subway, and I basically died laughing. So yeah, there was that. And then a hectic few days, so I decided to do a dedicated to-do list on one side and then a full schedule on the other. And again, I like to color code between personal and work stuff. And yeah, those were all of my November spreads. I got started actually earlier today on my December monthly as well as the December in review. So still loving my bullet journal. It's always there when I need it, and I cannot wait to continue this into December. And then moving on to this guy. So this is the emoji branded Leuchtturm, which I honestly started using just because I wanted to use it. And what I have decided to use this for is kind of like a daily reflections journal. And I've actually been pretty good with keeping up with it. Let's see. This is kind of the format. So, another reason why I wanted to do this was because I have so many washi tapes and I just want to use more of my washi tapes. So what I have been doing is putting a strip down on each page, and then I write the date at the top, and then I have a section for things that I'm grateful for each day, things that I'm proud of, and then things that I can work on. And it's very it's not very serious, so just whatever that comes to mind. So for example, on this day I was grateful for my mom, my customers. I was proud of challenging myself with adding some imperfections to my day, because I am very unhealthily attached to routines. So anything unexpected I am proud of if I'm able to not spiral. And then things that I can work on is doing my skincare and taking breaks from looking at the screen. So stuff like that. And yeah, I've just been basically doing this every day, and it's been great. There were a few times where I accidentally skipped a page. So here I went from the 21st, skipped this page to the 22nd, 23rd, and then I went back to fill it out. So some of it's not chronological, but yeah. And yeah, is this necessary? Probably not, but I do feel like it's a nice pocket of my evening where I get to just sit down with my thoughts, and also actually use up some of my washi tape. So I do plan on continuing this into December as well. Okay, then let's talk about my Hobonichi cousin. I struggled with keeping up with the weekly section of my Hobonichi cousin for this month. November was a very busy and out of routine month for me with my traveling as well as Black Friday and just my general health. So again, I did struggle. I know a lot of you watch my videos for inspiration on keeping up with your journals, But I also hope that it's reassuring to see that sometimes I do leave a lot of blank spaces when it's just not beneficial for me to stress about filling everything out. So yeah, this was the week leading up to my travels. This was the week where I was in the US. I didn't put in too much information because you will see later in the daily section, I journaled a lot about it. So I definitely didn't miss out on documenting any memories, but I just wanted to fill out a few things in the weekly section. And then this was the week that I came back. I fell off a little bit on the weekend. I think I was starting to get really stressed with Black Friday prep, so that's why I just didn't really bother filling this out. I also started some new medication this week, which so far has not done anything, so yay for that. And then this was the previous week, which I filmed a plan with me on. I really like the idea of splitting the washi tapes in half to kind of create this border. And then this is this current week. I used the same like planner supplies washi, but this is like the dark version, and then this is the light version. Again, keeping it very simple, but I think for next week I'm actually going to use some sort of weekly sticker kit because I actually really miss using my Hobonichi cousin kits. I feel like it makes decorating a lot easier, especially during my busier weeks. So yeah, I do really like this, so this more minimal look. And then moving on to the daily section, I do have a funny thing. So as many of you know, I have been on a finish a roll of washi tape challenge since September. You can see this is when I started, and I have not missed a single day in the attempt to finish this roll of washi. And unfortunately, I think mid-November or like late November, the washi tape got so small that I lost the freaking roll of washi tape. I literally cannot find it. I swear I could have finished it in perhaps 2 to 3 more spreads. I was so close and I just can't find it. I was so upset, but I will show you guys that in a bit. So these were all of my daily prompts in November, and I basically answer each prompt at the top of the spread. So November 1st, hello November. Here I was making a list of things that I needed to pack. On Fridays, I always bake something or make something for my parents to bring over to my sister, and on this day I made apple hand pies with some puff pastry, and it was delicious. Here I was packing some more stuff. This was the day before I left for Chicago, and then this was the day I left for Chicago, so this was a little doodle of my ticket. And I mentioned this in my October planner update, but before I left, to kind of set myself up for success, I pre-wrote all of my prompts here, so I didn't have to stress about it during my trip. And I also changed from answering the prompt at the top to on the sidebar because I figured during my trip I'm not gonna have like a very long to-do list, so might as well take up the space. I landed in Chicago in the evening and I had a salad from this place called Kaiser Tiger. Then I went to La Colombe for coffee, went to Whole Foods and got a bunch of cool Go Macro bar flavors, met up with some friends at Revival Food Hall, so I doodled my turkey sandwich. This was a swatch of the Robert Oster ink that I got from Atlas Stationers. I went to the Starbucks Reserve and also Trader Joe's. So as you can see, during my travels, I journaled a lot, which is why I didn't feel the need to fill up this weekly spread very much. Lots of details here. On Tuesday, I went to a coffee shop, which if you watched my Chicago vlog, you will know that I had a lot of trouble pronouncing this name, so I'm not gonna try again. And then I had a sandwich at Potbelly, gelato, and went to Leven Bakery for a cookie. I was starting to get very sleep deprived. I went to Good Ambler, the Field Museum, a salad from Sweet Green, and then I went to Paris Baguette. Thursday was when I left Chicago, so I went to La Colombe again, and then I landed in Orlando, so I doodled some palm trees. This was a really hectic day. I had new releases along with all of the Planner Conference activities. I had brunch with Diana at First Watch. We went to Target. We had this like beautiful floral delivery for my table centerpiece. And then I also did a meet and greet in the evening with a bunch of customers who showed up, and we took photos with the giant emoji. By the way, I'm going through this very briefly because I did 2 full vlogs on my channel of this trip, so I don't want to repeat myself too much. But this was the official Planner Conference day, and we had a bunch of speakers, and then we also did a Girl Boss panel where we answered a bunch of questions. Lots more activities, and then at the bottom I wrote, "This trip healed a part of me." Very sweet. And then on Sunday, this is when I flew back. So I flew from Orlando. I had a stop at Seattle. It was a 40-minute layover, which stressed me out a lot because I was not familiar with the Seattle airport at all, and I wasn't sure where to go. But thankfully I made it back to Vancouver. And I was also very stressed because the Orlando airport had this line that it was the longest line I have ever seen. It was the TSA security line, and I swear I had to walk like 5 to 10 minutes to get to the back of the line. And I was also very stressed that I wouldn't make it in time, but thankfully the line actually moved fairly quickly. But yeah, that was my doodle of the line. Also, because the layover was only 40 minutes, my checked luggage didn't make it to Vancouver with me, so I had to like fill out this form, and then thankfully they drove it over later in the evening, but I was also quite worried about that. Overall, a very stressful travel day. The next day, I immediately drove over to my sister's place because I wanted to see my nephew, and he grew so much within a week. Maybe it was in my head, but I definitely felt like he got a lot heavier. And he also like smiled at me, and it was so sweet. Anyways, on Tuesday we had 3 like major deliveries, and it was just a very hectic day. So I doodled some logos. On this day, what happened here? Oh yeah, so my to-do lists were very short on these days because the Chicago and Orlando vlogs that I uploaded for my channel basically took several full days of me sitting at my desk editing. The clips were so out of order and choppy and low quality that yeah, editing just sucked the soul out of me. So that's why my to-do list was so short. It was just basically me editing. And then I doodled this little thing of a boy with a bunch of flying papers because there was this boy, I don't know what happened, but I think he dropped like, it must have been hundreds of sheets of printer paper, just blank printer paper all over the streets, and he was just picking it up, and it was like partially raining and all of that, and I was on my way to the gym and I saw that and I was like, oh my gosh, poor guy. So yeah, I helped him pick up all of the pieces of paper. All right, Thursday I swatched the new washi tapes. This is Winter Critters 2.0 and Icetown. I'm saving these to officially use when we actually get snow, but I definitely wanted to swatch it. And this is when I started my new medication, which again has not really done anything, but that's okay. On Friday, I went to watch the Eras tour. And yeah, the movie theater had like a few other people. It was relatively empty, but I actually cried as soon as the first song came on. And as much as I love Taylor Swift, it wasn't because I love her so much that I started crying, but I think it was just like this year has been really hard for me. And I think just taking some time to myself to go to the theaters and kind of just melting into the recliner seats, it was like a feeling of relief. I'm not gonna say I didn't get like a single day of break in 2023 because that's definitely false, but it just felt like the first break that I've had to myself in a long time, and it was just this like rush of relief, and I genuinely cried. It was kind of weird, but yeah, that was a nice afternoon. I got some running tops and also a running glove for the winter time when it gets very cold. Here I drew some graphs from this book that I was reading, and then this is when I realized that I was probably starting to catch a cold, and this is when I stopped being in denial and acknowledged that I was getting sick. I noted that this was a rather expensive day because I bought a giant bouquet of roses and lilies for my mom's birthday. I also bought some sweatsuits for my mom. My mom loves wearing sweatsuits, so like matching sweatshirts and sweatpants. And there's this like particular duo that she likes, and it came out in 4 new colors. So for her birthday, I decided to buy 2 of them. So yeah. And then number 3, I bought some new art supplies. I think this was like the day I had the fever, so I was just out of it. I didn't bother making a to-do list. No shame about that. And then I think, yeah, this was when I lost the washi tape. I still left the space for it because I was like, oh, it's probably just somewhere, but yeah, I still have not found it. So I think that's kind of funny. And as you can see, I was in denial that it was missing. I kept leaving the space for it, but I just never ended up finding it. So for this year, my mom's birthday and Black Friday coincided, so it was kind of a hectic day. I started the day off with a doodle of my mom, and I wrote down several reasons why my mom is awesome. And then this was like a little schedule of the day because again, it was super hectic with the Black Friday sale. And this was a medium productive day. All right. Why did I say I did it here? Oh, I officially finished the Cyber Monday prep on Sunday evening. Very last minute this year. I was just so out of it, but yeah, I was very pleased with all of the digital new releases that I was able to do. And I still get a lot of comments under my videos asking about digital stickers. If you like digital products, I released 4 new sets for Cyber Monday, so definitely check the shop if you're interested. And then on Monday, I officially stopped leaving a space for the washi tape, and I wrote officially accepting that I lost the challenge washi roll. So sad. And then you can see I stopped leaving the space here. Ooh, this was exciting. So in my previous video, I mentioned that I really was thinking about taking a plein air oil painting course. And a lot of you encouraged me and I signed up for it. And Tuesday was when I took the first lesson. It was for 3 hours and we just picked a spot at the park and set up all of the oil paintings or the oil paints and canvas, and he taught me how to paint and it was so nice. Unfortunately, I will not be continuing because it is a winter time. I get cold very easily, and standing in the middle of the forest for 3 hours barely moving is a recipe for disaster, and I cannot continue that. So during the painting session, I was so into it I was so into the zone that I didn't notice how cold that I was. It was only after we finished that I realized that I could barely walk because my toes were so frozen. And I had to ignore stranger danger and ask the instructor if he could drive me to the mall so I could warm up a little bit. He was very nice, and he actually offered as well. And we had a nice chat in the car. Probably would not have done that under typical circumstances, but I felt like it was more dangerous for me to attempt to walk back home with basically frozen feet. I would say it would have been a 10 out of 10 experience if it wasn't like 1 degree Celsius outside. But yeah, I think this has definitely inspired me to do some more personal paintings and art as well. That's unrelated to work. On Wednesday, I was listening to Taylor Swift's Vault track, You're Losing Me, over and over again. I'm not kidding. I packed orders on this day for 2 hours, and for that entire 2 hours, I had this one song on repeat. And then this was the last spread for November, and I kind of took this idea from Julie Plans, and I did kind of like a November in review with a bunch of washi tapes. And yeah, this is my December title page. I went to a list of 1,000 journaling prompts and I randomly generated all of these. So it's a very interesting mix of prompts and I'm really excited to dive in. And I made a section for things that I'm bringing into December and things that I am leaving behind in November. And this is a little peek of today. So yeah, oh my gosh. I am so tired of talking, but I do have one more thing to show you. This is very quick. So this is my 2024 Hobonichi Cousin avec. I haven't done any planning in it, obviously, because we are far from 2024 starting, but I wanted to share this because I feel like some of you might want to try this as well. So I took some time to write a letter to myself, basically from the perspective of 2023 me to 2024 me. I have not finished the letter yet because my wrists hurt if I write for long periods of time, even with fountain pens. If it's gel pen, I hurt after like a minute straight of writing. With fountain pens, I can definitely do like a 30-minute session or something. But yeah, this is definitely not complete, but I started writing kind of like a letter to myself. And I think this is going to be like a beautiful way to end off 2023 and starting 2024 on a fun note. And I just decided to do this in the back section. It comes with a note. It comes with a few note pages, and I think this is perfect. So just a little inspiration for anyone if you are not sure what you want to do in the note section of the Hobonichi Cousin. So anyways, I cannot talk anymore. Thank you so much for watching. We just have the December planner update left to go, and I'm so excited to dive into all of my 2024 planners. Again, thank you for watching, and I will see you next week. Bye. This is my spread dedicated to sardines. Hi everyone, happy June 1st. I have my planner update for May, and I feel like with every planner update, I get more and more notebooks and planners on my desk. I feel like throughout the year, I just keep adding more and more notebooks and planners, and it's kind of a problem. But yeah, I'm excited to share everything with you. I also decided that maybe I will include a tiny little stationery haul at the end of the video. I feel like it'll be a nice way to promote other small businesses, so hopefully you are interested in that. I first want to talk about my loves currently. So with most of my videos, I use the Energel Clena 0.4 millimeter gel pen refill, and I still use this basically every day. But lately I've just been falling back in love with fountain pens. I've always loved fountain pens, but I go through like phases where I use them really often and phases where I don't. Currently I'm in a phase where I use them very, very often. These two were my most used ones in May. This is a Twisby Eco with a rose gold trim, and I have a fine nib, and currently I have it inked with the Waterman black ink, which is a very trusty black. And then this is of course my new Leonardo Momento Magico fountain pen in the extra fine nib, and I have the Diatramentis document black ink inside. So this is my current favorite pairing for the month of May. Last month I introduced my art journal to you guys. This isn't really a planner, but it's more so a journal. I did want to show you I added 2 new vinyls to it. These are being released on June 3rd, and I love it so much. It says protect your peace and also struggle bus, or I guess like hop on the struggle bus. So there's that. So last month, I think when I showed you, I only had a few doodles on this page, maybe something here as well. This scenery was a doodle of a neighborhood that I was running through, I think, and I just thought all of the different trees and bushes were so beautiful. And then anytime I went running outside, I just made a little sketch of my outfit because I was having so much fun mixing and matching my different tops and legging colors. I also tried to do different like poses to practice my sketching. And then this is the other doodles that I did in the month of May. I don't put too much pressure on myself to keep up with this regularly, but just whenever I have time, I will make a little sketch. This is a self-portrait sketch. So I have this thing where, okay, so just in general, I do not cry very often. Sometimes maybe on social media, I'll say, oh my gosh, this is making me cry. I'm not actually crying, but like genuinely crying, I don't cry very often. But when I do, I make a point to take a selfie because I find it funny. So this was a recent cry, and I just did a self-portrait of myself while crying. Okay, moving on. Here I made a snack plate, which I thought was glorious. I had pickles, baby pickles, cantaloupe, olives, and a jammy soft-boiled egg. I guess I was like in full cardigan mode for some reason. And then I made a quick little sketch once again of some beautiful trees and cherry blossoms and blooming flowers that I saw. It's not a very like detailed sketch because I didn't have too much time. And then here, my friend Helen from Toronto, she sent over a bouquet of roses for my mom on Mother's Day, which was just the kindest thing ever. So I had to make a sketch of the bunch of roses. They were so beautiful. And that's about it. Yeah, progress is slow in this journal, but I don't mind it at all. Next, I will show you my bullet journal. I'm happy to report that I planned in my bullet journal not quite a bit, but just like more than previous months in the month of May. So I'm really excited to show you. Not starting off very strong though. So I meant to do kind of like a page to start off May, but I just never ended up finishing. So I might put down some washi there so I can fill up some space. But there's that. And then this was the first week of May. I just started on a random Wednesday for some reason. I guess on this day I was feeling very anxious, and I also doodled my grocery haul, which were avocados, rye bread, and yogurt. This was a very random spread. I just took out 2 random washi tapes. This one is from Fox and Cactus, and this is Mountains and Meadows from my shop. So we have Tuesday, Wednesday, and then we jumped to Monday where I did like a split time blocking thing and a really random to-do list, some other things, and also a running to-do list on a sticky note. As you can see, like I'm really random in my bullet journal. There's really not much structure, but I do really like this timetable thing that I kind of created where I made a little doodle on each one, and I assigned gray to all of my work tasks and yellow to my personal tasks, and this like ochre color to family time. And I also did this thing where even though I was working from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., I had different types of work that I wanted to do. So I basically differentiated by alternating between shading it in and just boxing it off. I hope that made sense. So another example is here. I had a personal time for about an hour and a half, but half of it was with an evening walk and the other half I just wanted to read. So yeah. Then I started more consistently doing this like vertical checklist spread, and nothing too special about this. Here I was using my fountain pen to do all of my writing, and I also did some pen swatches. Continuing on, it's all just like the same vertical layout. And here I made a horizontal spread for the weekend. So my sister's gender reveal party was on Saturday, and I didn't really feel like doing any in-depth planning on those days because I was just like running around decorating and setting things up. So there's that. And then here I wrote a little reflection about the fact that I'm getting a nephew. This is quite literally the most important spread in this bullet journal. This is my spread dedicated to sardines. I have fallen into a rabbit hole of tinned sardines and tinned seafood, and I ordered 2 tins of sardines from Portugal. I'm trying not to burst out laughing at how silly this sounds just like saying it out loud, but yeah, my sardines from Portugal arrived this month, and I tried both of them and they were absolutely divine. So I created an entire spread for them, and I basically kept the paper packaging and I cut out the little labels and turned them into decorations. So yeah, let's move on. Oh, interesting. Okay, I just realized that I accidentally skipped a spread. I didn't mean to do that, but this is actually today. I am filming this in the middle of the day, so I haven't finished this yet. But I wasn't really expecting this empty space / empty page. So I will figure out what to do afterwards. But yeah, this was my bullet journal for this month. I can't believe we're approaching page 100. We're on 94. And this bullet journal itself has 121 pages. So we are actually almost finished this. I can't believe it. When I do finish, I'm definitely gonna get another one. Now, before I get into my Hobonichi weeks and also my Hobonichi cousin, I want to mention that May had a lot of empty spaces, and this is where I want to kind of normalize just like sometimes being too busy or just not mentally there to fill in all of your planner spreads. Typically, I'm really good at just like filling something in, even if I'm really busy, but May was just absolutely a roller coaster in terms of work. It wasn't a bad month by any means, but it was just really busy. So I just wanted to, I guess, tell you guys that it's completely okay and it happens to me as well. So let's get started. This is my year at a glance, and this is where I keep track of all of my workouts and such. I haven't filled it in for the past week, but I just go back to my Fitbit app and retroactively fill it in. So all of the blue dots are days I got over 10k steps, and then all of the brown dots are days where I got over 15k steps. And then this is my legend of the workouts that I did. It's still going strong. I'm very happy about that. And then so the first evidence of how crazy May was is that I didn't even bother filling in my May monthlies. I've mentioned previously that the monthly spreads aren't something that I use functionally. They're more for decoration and for fun. So it kind of makes sense that if I get super busy, then I'm not going to prioritize the monthly section. I might go back and fill it in the future, but I think for now I will just move on to June and leave it at that. Now, as for my May spreads, so this was the first week of May, and again, lots of empty space here and here and here as well. As you can see, I had a challenging few days. Yeah, I'm just reading this entry and it looks like I was getting on average 4.5 hours of sleep every night during this week, so that's likely why I was just really low in energy and I didn't have it in me to fill this in. But, you know, we move on. This was another rather empty week, especially with my mood tracker. Sometimes I just forget and I don't really see the point in going back to do it. But I did make a section for things that I'm excited for, and I think that's a nice thing to keep track of. Doing a little better mid-month. I had my book club meeting on this day, and I started like a little goal tracker for a few habits that I wanted to implement into my life. I was using the fruits and veggies washi. And yeah, this is where I started getting a little bit more consistent because I have been sleeping a little bit more. And who knew if you sleep more, you get more energy. So there's that. Okay, maybe this tracker isn't working in my favor because I'm still averaging less than 6 hours, but it's better than 4.5. So I'm still working on it, but I definitely felt more energetic these few days. So this was, again, the week where my sister had the gender reveal party. I was trying to track both sleep and mood side by side. I don't think I got much insight from that, but maybe I'll try again. A few more habits at the bottom. And then this is this current week. I guess I will show you the finished spread in my June update video. So that was my Hobonichi weeks, nothing too crazy. Moving on to the Hobonichi cousin. I'm very excited to show you this bottom section where I made this like doodle, kind of continuous, kind of not, of just like something to capture the month. So I think I've shown you like the first 2 or first 3, and then this is for April and this was for May. My year at a glance isn't something that I use too religiously, but it's just some place where I put like hanging out with my sister or my friends or appointments and stuff like that. So I have a few things in June, but not too much. And then just like my Hobonichi weeks, I forfeited planning in the monthly section of my Hobonichi cousin, just because, again, my monthly section is more so for fun and decorative purposes, and May was just too busy. I couldn't keep up with it, and for that reason, I will probably just continue on with June. Moving on to the weekly section, I do believe I also have a few empty spaces in the weeklies, but I will show you as that comes up. I think I did a real-time plan with me on this. I used the April subscription washi, which is like the office life emojis, and I really like how this turned out. Here I was filling in my work hours and I accidentally connected the wrong dots, so that is why there's a random triangle. Yeah, so this was my rather empty week because, again, I was just not sleeping very well and I just had very little energy to do anything that wasn't absolutely required of me, and that included filling in my planner. So I still did fill in quite a few things, but especially like towards the end of the night, I just didn't really have any energy. So there's that. This was the week that I received my new fountain pen, and I was super excited. So of course I had to use the fountain pen emojis washi. Sorry, fountain pen doodles washi. And this was also when I tested the new date covers. I have not released them yet, so that is a little sneak peek. And I guess I was too lazy on Sunday to finish off the week. Let me know if you're also someone who sometimes have trouble finishing Sundays, because by the time it's Sunday, sometimes I'm super motivated to like fill it all out, but sometimes I just get so eager to plan for the next week that I just leave it blank. So there's an example of that. Then again, this was the gender reveal party week, so I had to use the Winnie and Friends washi tape, and here I went all out with the date covers, and I really like how that looks. Really busy work week apart from Saturday during the party, and Sunday I think I was having a very bad day. I've been doing well-ish mentally, But Sunday, I just completely spiraled, and it was like the first mental health episode in quite a while, so yeah. And then this is this current week, which I'm actually filming a real-time plan with me on, and it's going up on Sunday, so I will not talk too much about this. So those were all of my weekly spreads for the month of May, and then we have all of the daily spreads. Kicking off May, I used the Spring Critters washi tape, which is super cute. I got some raw cashews, crisp bread, and I found a pair of Lululemon leggings on sale, so I was really excited about that. And then I was also excited because I ordered a checkbook for my business, and I got to put an emoji head logo on there, which I thought was super fun. So there's that. Here I doodled a bunch of trees. Why did I write this here? Oh, okay, so the day before, I got some raw cashews, and then literally the next day I spilled it all over the floor, so that was great. And then on this day, oh, my sister, she gifted me a Stanley tumbler thing, which is like this gigantic water bottle, and I've been drinking water from it ever since, so there's that. This is another spread, or I guess part of a spread dedicated to sardines. I tried King Oscar sardines for the first time, and they were absolutely divine. So I drew this like salivating emoji. Talking about sardines. Okay, moving on. Here I used the Tea Time washi, and then I was really excited about, once again, my new fountain pen. Let's see. Here I made a doodle of all of the beverages on my desk. I don't know if you relate, but I just keep accumulating mugs and tumblers and everything on my desk. So I had a hot coffee, a hot water, a cold water, and also an iced Americano. No wonder I have very little space on my very large desk. Okay, and then on May 6th, I went to Cora breakfast with my sister. I had a fruit platter with a coffee and some eggs, and then my sister had some pancakes and eggs and bacon and potatoes. And this fruit salad had so many fruits, so much so that I had to like take up 4 lines to write it all out, so that was very good. Here I wrote that I was getting the Sunday scaries, which is basically kind of when you get anxious for the next work week, I guess. I can't remember why, and I don't really want to read all of that, so there's that. And I was brainstorming ideas for my 5 journaling ideas for 5 days video, which is already up on my channel. And then this was the beginning of my 5 journaling ideas. And again, it's an entire video, so I won't talk too much about it, but day 1 was articles, day 2 was art journaling. I used a bunch of watercolors. Day 3 was listening to a podcast, and retroactively I also stuck on this sticky note, which is a note from my good friend Lauren. She sent over a bunch of RX bars and Lara bars that are in flavors not available in Canada, so I was very excited. Day 4 was random prompts that I got from a list of 1,000. And then day 5 was just like a reading journal. For Saturday, I was planning the boy or girl voting chalkboard for my sister's party. And what happened here? Do we have sushi on this day? Oh yes, we celebrated Mother's Day a day early, so I had sushi on this day. The next day I went to a grocery store that is a bit further away, and I got a bunch of goodies. Here I wrote, struggling today, so I will just do what I can and not give myself a long to-do list. And instead of making a to-do list, I just made a list of things that I did. And I think that's a really sweet way to approach maybe a tougher day where you don't want to be overwhelmed with a to-do list. Here I continued my planning, and I think I was still struggling on this day, so I didn't fill in my to-do list as much. On this day we had book club number 4, which was super fun. And then Christy, who is one of my customers, sent over another box, a giant box of Trader Joe's goodies. So of course I doodled all of the things that she sent, and I also stuck her note in my planner. Things like this just always brightens up my day. And then on Thursday we had new releases. I released the July to December monthly kit collection. So I did a little swatch of all of the washi strips, and I think that's really cute. I think I was really busy working on shipping the May subscriptions. Yes, they started shipping on the 18th, and then on the 19th I just went full force with shipping them. So I was absolutely exhausted, and consequently I didn't have many items on my to-do list because, you know, shipping subscriptions take hours at a time. So yeah. Here was a gardening day, and I made this doodle, "Get your shit together." I overslept by a little bit on this day, so I made a little doodle of my heart rate that was tracked by my Fitbit, and I thought that was kind of funny. Here I made a doodle of my lunch, and I was really excited about the date trackers that I was working on. I still want to make them for the Hobonichi weeks as well. And then another Monday, I just realized I'm like really terrible at checking things off. Like even if I finish something, I just forget to check them off. But yeah, anyways, on this day I made some root vegetable soup, which I thought was really good. I had a meeting with a property manager. I unfortunately witnessed my third car accident in a very short span of time. And yeah, I don't know. I just get so affected by car accidents specifically because I know that like somebody's having their worst day of their lives and their families are affected too, and all of that. So I was a little bit down about that. And then on this day I decided that I am gonna kind of cut added sugars and stuff like that for the next few days because I had been eating way too many chocolates and I just felt very inflamed. I don't know, I kind of just wanted to cut down on that a little bit. So starting Wednesday I did my no added sugar thing, and I lasted a full 7 days actually, but I don't know if I wrote it down each day. Here I was making a sketch of something that I wanted to post, and I wrote, "It's a long day." This was when I received the Portuguese sardines. If you watch the entire video with the bullet journal, you would know all about that. And then I made a doodle of a duck, an emoji, and a rooster, and an egg. Why did I do that? I don't know. Here I made a sketch of our backyard, just the general shape, and I was planning where to put all of the tables and chairs and such for the baby shower party. And this is like the balloon garland, and this is where the chalkboard is gonna be, or was gonna be. And then this was the actual party, and I did a whole video on this as well. Here I was reading The Lightkeeper's Daughter. I made a lot of progress in this book on this day. And then in the evening I went kind of on a design spree where I just designed for hours at a time, and I was watching Pitch Perfect. On Monday I decided to draw a bunch of ducks because when in doubt, draw a duck. This was yesterday. It was a very, very productive and busy work day. I had to do a lot of file conversions, which took 1,020 years. So honestly, like nothing interesting happened. I just sat at my computer all day doing file conversions. And then this is today. Nothing too much because it is the middle of the day. So those were all of my... That's a lot of talking. Those were all of my spreads for the month of May. I'm honestly quite happy with all of them. And as we're going into summer, I have to say I'm super excited because I love planning this summer. I think there are so many fun themes to work with, so I'm really excited. And now, as promised, I will do a little mini Happy Meal. I received this from Kubo and Lucy a while back. So basically, it was like a whole back and forth thing. I donated some prizes to her table at a conference, and then she wanted to send some gifts back to me, but then I ended up placing orders, so she added the gifts into that order. So yeah, that's the chain of events. So I actually cannot remember what I ordered and what she included as a gift. First up, we have these 3 coffee themed magnetic enamel pins. I think these are so cool. We have like a cappuccino. This is, I would say, like a latte. And then this is just like a coffee thing. And I think this would be perfect, especially on my emoji pencil pouches. So I'm gonna stick these on. And then I think I did order this. This is a clear washi tape, and it is a coffee pattern. Do I want to open this? Yes. Okay. I typically like to keep things in its packaging until I need to use it, but since this is a haul, I feel like I should show you. It's completely clear. I don't want to roll it out too long because I feel like it's a quote-unquote waste. But you can kind of get the gist of it. I really like this. I think it's super cute. Definitely gonna use this a lot in my spreads. This is a set of mini stickers. These are just little mini pastries. I especially love this long baguette. And then I also have this, which I also believe I ordered. I saw this and I thought it was so cool. These are basically numbers. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 4, 5. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. I'm guessing 17's under here. 17, 18, 19, 20. Anyways, these are number stickers, but they're on like really cool layered like collage style paper, and I thought this was so cool. And I think it would work really well, especially in my bullet journal. So I think I will dedicate a week to using this, or I guess like 20 days to using this. Maybe I'll film a video on this or something. But yeah, thank you so much for this sweet little Happy Mail. I realize that it's mostly brown. And then the next piece of Happy Mail, and the last one that I will show, is from Two Little Bees. Maria is my favorite human. I started buying from Maria before I opened my shop, and she has always been like a planner god to me. I look up to her so much. If you go into my videos from like 2016 or whatever, you will see her stickers in my spreads. I'm lucky enough to call her my friend nowadays, but she is still a planner god to me. So anyways, I still love making orders from her. So this is a little freebie. Just look at how gorgeous all of the florals are, and I love her color choices so much. This is a transparent sheet of deco stickers. Her stickers I can stretch out several weeks, so I love getting several pieces. This is a matching functional sheet. This is the like the floral trimmings. I especially love these swatch stickers. This is, I think, Honey Meadow. Yeah, Honey Meadow. So pretty. I really like her transparent stickers. They work really well in my Hobonichi. And then this is another functional sheet. So yeah, if you are into beautiful floral stickers, I would highly recommend Two Little Bees. So I think I've been talking for like 40 minutes straight, but I hope you enjoyed this planner update video, and I will see you this Sunday for a plan with me. Bye! Hi everyone, I hope you are having a wonderful day. We are officially done with the first half of the year, which is so crazy to me. And in this video, I will be showing you, of course, all of my spreads from June, but also I'm going to talk a little bit about what I'm thinking for 2024 in terms of planners, which I know I'm kind of jumping the gun a little bit, but there's so much chatter around it and it's a very exciting time. So I will save that to the end of the video. But for now, let's quickly, actually not very quickly, but let's go over all of my spreads from June. Oh, actually, I'm first gonna show you my art journal. I've shown this before. I did all of these sketches in May, and then in June I decided to try some markers in this sketchbook, and they were working beautifully. So I made this like kind of rainbow gradient doodle of just like random stuff. So just like random pink stuff, orange, yellow, and green. And then I actually turned this into a bean card that will be going out with orders maybe in a few months. I don't know. I will put an image on the screen, but this was the inspiration behind that. And then this is a sketch of my mom. I actually took this photo last year when she was working on her garden, and she once again restarted her garden this year after the winter, of course, and it is thriving. We get fresh cucumbers basically every single evening, and it is the best thing ever. So yeah, I really like this sketch. Obviously it's like really messy, but I did this pretty quickly. And then this was actually from my previous video where I filmed myself filling out the sketchbook. So we have this avocado toast, this sketch of myself, and then also a throwback to the distillery district back in Toronto. And then this is just like a really random thing. This relates actually to the July freebie, which I will also put on the screen. As you can see, like my art kind of is connected to whatever I release in the shop. So yeah, I thought this was kind of funny. Anyways, that is all I did in June for my art journal. This will probably take me like 5 years to finish at the rate that I'm going. Okay, next up, this is my tiny bullet journal, which I think I'm gonna make it a goal to finish this in July because I'm on page 105 and there's like 15 pages left, so we will see. And yes, I do have a replacement notebook on the way, and I think I will be doing a stationery haul within the next month or so, which I'm very excited about. So that is something to look forward to. If you watched my May planner update, you would have seen that I made this spread for sardines, which sounds weird with no context, but this is my sardine spread. And then I accidentally skipped this like spread and jumped onto this page. So then I went back and I created this June monthly spread. And I actually really enjoyed using this, and I do plan on doing this again for July. I used some deco stickers, and I basically just color coded 2 things. One is for work and one is for personal, and I actually made sure to put the color code of the Tombow markers here just because I have 2. Okay, I know this is like completely off topic, but I have very hairy arms for a girl, as you can see, and I used to shave my arms all the time, but I just can't be bothered anymore. So I'm not going to apologize, but I do want to point out that it is an insecurity. Anyways, I do have these 2 greens that are very similar. You can tell by the cap, and I can never remember which is which. So since I was using 177 to mark personal stuff for this month, I just made sure to write down the number so that I don't accidentally use 249 instead, because it will bug me if the shades are slightly off. So yeah, I just very simply mapped out my month, and I really enjoyed this. I think it was a good way to get an overview. Here is a few entries in June as well. I went to a fresh street market to get some goodies, and I really like the lettering that I did here. And then I made my perfected yogurt bowl, which I have since changed, so this actually wasn't perfected. And then these are just some random spreads in June, which I kind of didn't finish. So there's that. And then I just like skipped a few days, and we have Friday and Saturday. I've mentioned this a few times, but this bullet journal is mostly for enjoyment, so you can see that there's like very little consistency on how I do my layouts and stuff, and I often skip several days at a time. But yeah, this was like a vertical layout. I was very excited because I got a bunch of jars from the dollar store to put in some pantry goodies, so I spent this day like reorganizing my pantry. And then I really like these as well. So for Sunday and Monday, I didn't do any like lists, of course. I just basically made doodles for the main things that happened on that day. So let's see. Sunday I baked cookies. I had a doctor's checkup. Yeah, so in the month of June, I'm finally taking my health like actually seriously, and I've been going to professionals. I'm not too comfortable currently sharing like exactly what I'm going through, but I unfortunately have some physical consequences now of stress from the past few years. So I'm finally getting it checked out. So you might see like a few health related things. Anyways, some work. I ran in the forest. I went grocery shopping, and my mom made a dinner for my sister and I. And then on Monday, my dad came home, so that was really exciting. And then I started watching Black Mirror season 6, which I finished. And I will say it's probably not my favorite season, but I did enjoy select episodes. Whoops. And then I once again skipped a few days to the 21st. And I really like these like ice cream cone headers that I released for the summer release. On Wednesday, I had a bunch of phone calls. I think like many people do not like phone calls, and I tend to put them off. And on this day, I was like, I want to get through all of them. So I called Bob, who is a handyman, a medical clinic, Life Labs, and then a medical scan center. And then I had to call Bob a second time. And again, like a lot of medical stuff because I'm dealing with stuff. And then on Thursday, I had to call another medical center, which is awesome. A few checklist items. On Friday, I got my blood work done. And then here I had a lot of blank space, so I just made like the most random doodles ever. There is no theme, literally just like whatever popped into my head that I felt like was suitable for the space. I just put it down. I really like these 3 fish. Moving on, I posted this on Instagram, but it is like a list of things I have been putting off, but I know I need to eventually do them. I actually did finish a few more things, so I should check that off. Seems like my dad's opening the garage. Okay, one of the alarms in our neighborhood ran for like 5 minutes straight, so I don't even know what I was talking about. But yeah, anyways, this is my list of things, and I should probably get through more of them this weekend. I really like this blobby, exasperated emoji. And then I made this tracker for my health, as you can see. And essentially black is like a really bad day, gray is like an okay day, and then anything other than black and gray, like any other color, is like a good day. In terms of medical stuff, not like my mood or anything. And as you can see, I'm doing so well. It's kind of funny that it's literally like a pattern. Like every other day, I have a really bad day. I don't know. I hope that towards the end of this tracker, it'll be more colorful. And I think when I do my final bullet journal flip through, I will show you. I think when I do my final bullet journal flip through, when I finish this book, I will show you this, and hopefully, again, it's more colorful. And then this is my last thing to show for June in this bullet journal. It is just this current week. I started this on Monday, but then I skipped a few days, and then we have Thursday and Friday. And I just made this like a very simple to-do list, although I did create this like little flap thing for new releases, just because there were quite a few things or like categories to keep track of. So I have stickers, the subscription overstocks for January and February. And then on this side, I'm not too sure what I want to do yet. Maybe I'll write down a recipe, because I have been actually creating some of my own recipes lately, which I will talk about in a bit. So yeah, I think it was a pretty fun month. This is definitely my favorite section of June. Whoops. Okay. Moving on to my Hobonichi weeks. I unfortunately stained my cover with chocolate. So I think next year I will need to get like, okay, if I do decide to go with the Hobonichi weeks as well, I definitely do want some sort of clear cover like I have with my Hobonichi cousin. Anyways, let's show my activities tracker. I am very proud that I have been, again, very consistent with both my workouts, but also actually filling out a tracker. I have a lot of trouble keeping up with trackers, so this is like one of the few that I have been having a lot of fun keeping track of, and it's actually motivating me. So all right, that alarm ran for another like 5 minutes. I'm of course not having the best day filming, but yeah, anyways, I do hope I can keep up with this and proudly show you a spread full of dots at the end of the year. All right. So with my Hobonichi weeks, again, this is my personal planner, so a lot of it is empty just because, especially like during busier times where I'm more preoccupied with work, I don't have much time to do personal things, so consequently I don't have many personal things to write down. But this was the first week of June, and I started this thing, I think, the week before, where basically every Friday I make it a self-care Friday. I kept up with that for like 2 to 3 weeks. And I'm actually filming this on a Friday, and I definitely have not been having a self-care Friday. But hopefully after our office move, I can continue with that, because it actually is something to look forward to. So I did enjoy the 2 to 3 weeks where I implemented that. But anyways, for the past few weeks, I was using my fountain pen, but then I went back to using my gel pen because I do think I like the look of gel pens a little bit more on the Hobonichi paper. But I am using my fountain pens a lot more for studying and taking notes, and also doing my book journaling. So I haven't stopped using my fountain pens for sure. And I think you'll see that in my midnight journaling episode that is coming this Sunday. But yeah, anyways, I also started doing this thing where I wrote down a week in review and just wrote down some key things that happened during the week. This was kind of a messy week. I tracked my spending here, and I accidentally used a turquoise gel pen. I didn't realize that one of my pens had a turquoise ink refill, and I just grabbed it, and we just have this like random section of blue. And then I guess I went back to using fountain pens here, but again, I don't know, it's not my favorite look. For some reason, I just like changed my mind. And then I got this like habit tracker idea from Instagram. With habit tracking, again, I'm terrible at it. I tend to fall off like towards the weekend with tracking, and then I don't want to go back and track because I don't know, I just don't really see the point in it. So it's always like semi-empty, but there's that. And then this is this current week. We are again on a Friday, and I decided to ditch the whole tracking my meals thing, which I have been doing, I think, since the very beginning. As you can see, always just like writing down my main meals. But I stopped doing it this week just because I felt like I was basically eating the same thing every single day, and if I do eat something different, I kind of want to highlight it, maybe through like a doodle or something. So I didn't feel like the meal tracker was too useful for me. So instead, I took up the entire note page, and I'm just doing like a general week in review, and I'm really enjoying it so far. I will probably make a few more entries on the weekend, but yeah, this is everything for my Hobonichi weeks, and I'm sure like as the weeks go by, I will make a lot more adjustments as I change my preference. So there is that. All right, then we have my Hobonichi cousin. This is getting really, really chunky, and you can see the pages that I haven't used in the back. This is my year at a glance. I am continuing this like doodle thing, and I think this is so satisfying to look at. And I made this doodle of the office because we are actually getting ready to move into the office, I think this weekend, maybe next week. With moving, you never know. Things always go wrong and get delayed. So here is my June monthly spread. I did a full plan with me video on this, but I think I did update a few things as June went by. So this is what it looks like, and I really like this yellow, brown, and green combo. Just love these colors. Okay, then we have the weekly section. I think I showed the first half of this at the end of my May video, and this was the first few days of June. And again, it was like a, whatchamacallit, like using random kit leftovers video. So it kind of does look a little bit chaotic with all of the different colors, but I honestly really like this. I guess I was feeling very down on this day for some reason. This was the second week. Unfortunately, this was the week that my grandmother passed away, and I was pretty upset about that. And then here I was trying a new way of marking in work, where I was basically like, instead of making the like headers and then using arrows, I just basically made bars like this. And I did enjoy this, but it was too much effort to grab a ruler to make all of these super perfect rectangles every time. So I didn't continue doing this. Anyways, this was the second week. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm starting to get a little bit anxious for some reason. I think with the alarms and all of that and so many notifications. I'm gonna take a little bit of a break from filming just to calm down. Okay, I'm back and a lot calmer now. I'm so sorry for all of the interruptions. This was the third week of June, and I implemented a similar thing with the bars, but instead of taking the time to draw these like perfect looking bars, I just used my Tombow dual brush pens to highlight the hours, and this was a lot quicker to do, so I did quite enjoy this. And then I continued this on to the next week, and this week was really off. You can kind of see there's like a lot of empty space, and I also like kept alternating where I was writing the work. So sometimes I would write it up top, and then sometimes I would write it at the bottom, and this was really starting to bug me. So not my favorite spread so far, and I really do like this slump doodle though. I think that's kind of funny. I also skipped on doing a work tracker just because, again, this was like a really off week, but I might go back and fill it in because it's like the one thing that I keep consistent, so I definitely don't want this to be like a random empty week. And then this is this current week. I'm using this like washi tape that is super cool. It's a bunch of watercolor geometric shapes, and actually one of my customers from Etsy sent this to me, and I think it is so beautiful. And I just ripped up little pieces and put it everywhere. And again, we are on Friday, so I don't have the spread finished, but so far I'm really liking the look of this week. And here I wrote, it's going to be a busy week. Today we are mainly packing. On the weekend we're going to do most of the move, hopefully. As for marking and work for this week, as you can see, I'm like experimenting a lot. I decided to just draw these like lines with little bullet points at the end, and I think I might continue this onto next week because I really enjoyed this notation style, especially because like when things overlap, for example, I had work on this day, but my sister and my brother-in-law just like stopped by for, you know, a little while. I was still like working, but then also like chatting with them, and I didn't really know how to mark that, so instead I just kind of offsetted this line. I did it a few times during the spread, and I think it's actually like really functional, so I did quite enjoy this. So we will probably do that next week as well. And that is basically it for all of my weekly spreads, and now we will move on to the daily spreads. So in the month of June, I kind of started off with a habit, or like a poor habit, of forgetting to check things off. That is because I had a digital notepad of things that I had to do, and I was mostly checking stuff off on there, so that is why. But then towards the end of the month, I went back to checking things off. This was day one. It was a heavy design day, and I got an iced coffee, or like an iced Americano, and I did a little swatch of this like washi tape, which I think I hauled in my May planner update. And then this was my self-care Friday that I was talking about earlier. It was like a self-care Friday, but it was only for 2 hours. I just went to a local cafe and I got this like cinnamon swirl scone. I got some work done and also an iced Americano. And I guess I received a new product, which I was really excited about. But